What's happening, everybody? Casanova back with another video, but before we dive into things, I want to show you guys my cats. This black cat with the orange eyes is Sable. And this adorable tabby is Maui. They're very, very cute. And Maui is especially goofy. What are you doing? Now that you've gotten to see my cats, let's dive into the subject of this video. Today we are going to be working on the Spider-Man boot. Now, I kind of went over this with the making a Spider-Man costume video, but I want to go further into detail about this, and I want to do a few things different that I did not get to do in the video. So, yeah. Before we get to making it, let's go over the materials, as per usual. Okay, so here are the things you're probably going to need for making these Spider-Man boots. Obviously, you're going to need the pattern piece for the boots. Or if you don't have the boots, you could just use a sock for basic pattern reference. Some red spandex, and 4-way stretch is your best bet. Or, if you don't have any 4-way stretch red spandex or the boot pattern, you could probably just use a red sock. So, that'll probably save you a lot of time. If you are going with the fabric method, then you will need the pattern, and you will also need some markers so that you can mark out the shape that you're cutting out. And speaking of cutting out, you are also going to need some scissors. And because this is a sewing project, you're going to need a needle and thread. Or you can use a sewing machine, like I'm going to be using here. Some pins, just in case. And you are also going to need some glue. You can either use Gorilla Glue, you can use E6000, you can use Shoe Goo, you can use Barge Contact Cement. Whatever glue is the strongest for you to use it. You will also need a box knife or a box cutter or whatever you want to call it. And I'm also actually going to demonstrate how to add the rubber soles of water shoes to your costume boots. I did not actually do that in the last video, and I apologize for that, but this time I will demonstrate on how to do that here. So you should also get some water boots. I got these at Walmart, and they were also on sale. They're usually $5, but I managed to snag them for $3, so good deal, Walmart. And I should also note that when it comes to the water shoes, you should definitely go smaller than what you normally wear. I normally wear a 7.5 to an 8 in men's. These are a 7/8 in women's. My shoe size in women's would be a size 9. So, yeah, you should definitely go smaller. That way, when you glue the sole to the boot, it's not going to hang over your foot. So, yeah. And also, depending on what kind of glue you use, you may also want to have some plastic bags sitting around so that you can put them on your feet, just in case the glue seeps through. I don't recall that happening to me, but it is bound to happen based on some videos I have seen on the internet. So, yeah. A layout of the materials that you're going to need, and a forewarning just in case things go south. So, with this subject covered, let's get cracking. To begin making the boots, first you grab your red spandex and lay it out. And I'm picking the placement of where I want to cut from because I want to be as mindful and as smart with my fabric as I can. So, once you lay out your fabric, you take your pattern or your sock and you lay it up against the fabric and try to make sure you pick the right placement, as I said.
And once you're satisfied with the placement, you can then take your marker and trace around the pattern. Now you want to trace out 4 pieces of the boot. 2 are going to make one foot and the other 2 are going to make the other. Once you trace around the pattern, you are free to cut it out. Once you have your pieces cut out, pin it together and try to make sure that both sides have the pins meeting the outline that you've made. And as soon as you're done pinning them and are satisfied, you can then run it through the sewing machine, or you can hand sew if that's what you're more comfortable with. Now I'm using a sewing machine because, well, that does better straight stretch stitches than I have ever done by hand, at least as far as I can remember. And if you need to go over it multiple times, you are more than welcome to do so. It just means that by doing it multiple times, you're giving your boots extra durability and they're less likely to fall apart on you. Also, I should note that you can also maybe glue them together first and then run through the sewing machine, but I just pin and go through the sewing machine. So after I ran through the sewing machine once, I noticed that the lines on the other side didn't quite match up. In fact, there were some lines that peeked past the seams, so I decided to run through it again. But it does have the added bonus of extra durability and extra security. So yeah, this boot is not going to be falling apart on me anytime soon. Once you're done sewing the two boot halves together, you can then cut off all the excess threads and any excess fabric that you don't necessarily need anymore. So, go ahead and grab your scissors and cut away all the excess. I also trimmed off some of the tops so that the boot doesn't sit way too high on my leg, but yeah, once you're happy with how much of the excess you removed, you can then turn it inside out, or right side out actually, excuse me, and give it a test fit. When you're happy, we can move on to prepping the water shoes. To prep the water shoes, first we take out the insoles, and then we have to try to remove the bottom rubber bit. This is probably gonna take a while.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my fingers hurt. I need a break. Okay, I'm back. Don't worry, I'm not gonna let this project or this video break me. Just because I ripped water shoes open doesn't mean that I have to break myself. Okay, let's continue on. Once you have the soles removed, you can take the insoles and put it back into the exterior at this point. And I think you could probably piece together why in a moment, but in the meantime, don't question me. Just do it. Okay. Now, take your box cutter, or you could probably even use your scissors for this, but I'm just going to use this. And I'm going to score some lines on the inside of the rubber. And once you feel you've scored enough lines, close up your box knife and safely put it away. Now we can get to the gluing. E6000. But before we apply the glue to the rubber, let's prep ourselves a little bit.
Self-preparation is basically very simple. If you're wearing long pants like I have, you're definitely going to want to roll them up just so none of the glue gets onto them, and it also helps to keep them nice and clean. Nobody likes getting glue all over their pants. It's a pain in the tuchus to wash out. And also, it would probably help if you pulled up your socks all the way. Once you have taken care of your normal clothes, you're definitely going to want to put plastic bags on your feet just in case the glue seeps through. And once you have the bags on your feet, you can then put on the water shoe exterior and then put on the red sock that you basically made.
Okay, so once we've done this, take the glue that you're using and apply it to the sole. Cap that off. And now stand on top. And give it a few seconds for the glue to dry. This might actually take a few minutes. Wow, I should have turned on the TV or something. After a few minutes, when the bottoms have adhered to what you have glued it to, there may still be some loose bits, and that's where this Gorilla Glue stuff will come into play. You can apply it to the remainder of the rubber. Press it against the sock portion and let that adhere. Oh, jeez. I'm definitely gonna need to sand and wash my hands after this. Oh, I'm sorry. And just like that, we are pretty much done with making the Spider-Man boots. Yep. Now, they don't really look too much like Spider-Man boots. They kind of just look like red socks with water shoe soles glued to the bottom. But yeah, as soon as you finish all this, you are more than welcome to web up these boots as you see fit. But yeah, that is the general technique. Now, you don't have to do it this way. There's a version that John Hay does, and there's a very similar method that Scott Bayles did. But this is the way that I like to do it. If this worked out for you, please hit like on this video, and if you enjoyed what you saw, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the bell. I don't really upload a whole lot, so you're not going to be spammed with notifications from me, but it's appreciated all the same. And also, if I managed to teach you something, or if I helped you in any way, please leave me a comment. It is greatly appreciated. And yeah, I think that about does it. I've been your host, Casanova. I hope to catch you next time on the web. Excelsior! Have a good day.